Well, hey there, everybody. Let's talk about a little South Carolina payroll withholding. We are almost done with all 50 states, and we're going to talk about South Carolina, a state that I've been to, gosh, I've driven through at least many, many times. Good food down there in South Carolina. Nice, easy living. Can't complain. All right, let's talk about South Carolina here. So, what do you need? You need your employee to fill out a form, a SCW4. They're going to click a filing status, but it doesn't really matter. I don't know why this is there. We don't even use this. All we really need to know is the number of allowances that they're claiming from the worksheet here, right? That's all they need to fill out, really. You need to get that allowance number. Once you get that allowance number right here, 1, 2, 3, whatever it is, that's what you're going to use for the payroll file. That's what's going to be right here, Form SCW4 allowances. You're going to put that in there. You don't need to worry about a filing status. Don't worry about any of that. How do you calculate it? It's not too bad. Not too bad. You're going to annualize your wages. I mean, they have a little instruction here in how to do this, and you're going to end up using this formula right here when you figure out what your wages are. I'll show you how to do it. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the gross pay for the period, multiply it by the number of pay periods in the year. We're doing an annual or a weekly file here, and when you annualize the wages, you multiply by the pay periods, then you subtract out the South Carolina allowances times the number of allowances that they put on that South Carolina W-4, which is that number right here, is going to be multiplied by the South Carolina allowance amount, which is this, $2,670 per allowance. So you're going to subtract that out from the annualized gross pay that you just created, but there's one more thing you also have to take out. You have to take out the standard deduction. And the standard deduction is normally going to be $4,200, but it could be less if, this is the one tricky thing about South Carolina taxes here, is the standard deduction is going to be 10% of gross wages if you're claiming more than one allowance up to $4,200. So they're saying that 10% of gross wages is really what the deduction should be if it's less than the 4,200. So what you have to do is you have to check to see, well, what is this standard deduction? And you can see that on this one here, the standard deduction is only 2,600 because the wages were a lot lower. And the actual 10% of gross wages ended up being less here. So you do have to check to make sure that 10% of gross wages is more than 4,200 for it to take the full deduction each pay period as you analyze it out, because it might be less. So that is how you figure out what the standard deduction is. And where did we go? Standard deduction goes there. The rest of it is just putting that formula that I just shown you into one cell here. And it's just a bunch of ifs. It's a nested if formula. It's looking at the wages, saying if they're less than this, do this to it. And there's a bunch of different tax rates. They vary from 0.5% for the first $2,800. That's 0.5%, 0.005, 0.005. And then they range from 3 all the way up to 7%, depending on different wage brackets there. But doesn't worry about filing status. So that's how it works. Pretty easy. Annualize your wages, figure out what your standard deduction is, whether it's that threshold or 10% of your 10% of your annualized grosses end up being less than 4,200, then you got to make sure you get that deduction right, and then apply the formula to it, and you're done. You've got pay stubs. You're good to go. I don't know if there's any local taxes in South Carolina. Don't think so. We'll find out. But that's how it works. Pretty easy. South Carolina is not that bad. I'm getting tired. This has been a lot of work. So, all right. So South Carolina, done. Which means South Carolina is done. It means that we are now down to Utah, Wisconsin, and West Virginia. And I mean, did we just see what I saw about Utah is one cell. I think they just multiply everything times 4.95 and don't do any deductions. Could be the easiest state ever. I'm going to double check. So Utah might be done in like 5 minutes. Right? Wouldn't that be awesome? And then it would just be Wisconsin and West Virginia. Definitely finishing off with West Virginia at some point here on January 5th. We are going to get this done. All right, guys, payroll should be easy. It's not easy right now while I'm doing it, but it's going to be easy when it's done, and we're making it so.